Okay, so I want to go back to this game from October 21st, and the reason I'm making this video is because I got a post from one of my subscribers about this game, and this was a game that I do remember. I did have a wager on this game, and I lost. Okay, so I had Indiana +7. Now I did not make a video on this game because of the fact that I did not believe at the time that this game was controlled. Okay, so, but ever since I started looking back on this game, then now I realize that this game was controlled when they were at the 50, okay, not when they were at the 20, when they just intentionally let them score. Which I first initially believed, but then I think the plan was changed once they didn't stop them at the 50. Okay, so yeah, I admit when I do have losses here, okay? I did not make a video on this Pittsburgh win either. So, I just can't make videos on every single game. But the point is, if you have a lot of games, like if you have 3 to 5 games in a college football week, okay, and you hit most of those games, you hit 3 out of 5, okay, or 4 out of 5 of them, or if you bet 3 games and you hit 2 out of 3, okay, you're going to come out on top, okay? So the point of it is, if you have volume, you know how to pick these games, eventually you're going to come out on top. But you could just imagine somebody that is a novice bettor, okay, that they're not going to be able to figure this stuff out, because even the people that know what they're doing do take losses as well, okay? So I did have Indiana. I lost juice here because I was pretty certain that they were going to cover this game. All right, so just wanted to point that out, and thank you to Lizzie Gold for pointing this video out, pointing this game out, so that I could go back and make a video about it, because I have so many videos, and I just don't have time to make videos on every single game that I think is controlled or rigged or whatever you want to call it. And that's why I rely on the comments to, if you make a post on something and I have the game, that I definitely go back and explain it. Okay, so I just like to break down these big games where a lot of money is moved between hands. Okay, a lot of Monday Night Football games and marquee games that a lot of people are watching, because those are the games where they make the most money on. Okay, and Michigan State, Indiana. I mean, this could have been a controlled game as well, but I just didn't feel I needed to make a video on this one because I didn't think it was drawing that much attention. But now that I take a look at the game, I could see why. So thank you to Lizzie Gold for pointing this out. So I'm going to want you to take a look at this sequence, okay? So initially, I didn't think that this game was controlled, but ever since I started going back and looking at it, now I realize that it was. And I think the initial plan, once they didn't stop them at the 40 or at the 50 here, once they got down to the 20, they just let them score. So I don't think that part was rigged, but I think this part was controlled because there was 5 guys around them and they couldn't make the tackle. So Indiana normally here, common thing that happens in college football, they're just, or in NFL as well, they're just conceding to call timeouts, okay? And they want to end the game. Michigan State doesn't want to give the ball back to Indiana, okay? So they're going to bleed clock, and they probably wouldn't get the ball back if Indiana commits to, stopping them here, okay? So 3rd and 9, Indiana has 1 timeout left. Okay, so right here, there's 5 guys for Indiana around him. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy fell. So 4 guys to make a tackle. All right, so they're not even in field goal range here. So you can't expect, them to kick a field goal. And even if they did kick a field goal here, Indiana would still be covering this line. Okay, they'd be up 13-9 with a field goal. But I really doubt if they would have made a tackle here that they would be trying to kick a field goal. They'd just be trying to run the clock out. Okay, so once these players didn't make the tackle here, and they let them run freely, I think that's when the coach said, we're going to intentionally let them score, and we're going to get the ball back and try to score, because they knew they had no chance with 2 minutes left. But see, I think this is the controlled outcome right here, and not when they got down to the 20. Okay, and then let them intentionally score. So I think the plan was busted by that time. So they just let them score here. So take a look at this missed tackle. So they're not even in field goal range here. All they had to do was make a tackle here and eventually just run out the clock. They wouldn't kick a field goal, and Indiana would cover this game. But see, they let them run freely. Now they're in field goal range. Okay, they're in field goal range here. But by that time, it's too late. Okay, so Indiana, what they do is they just intentionally let them score here because they know that Michigan is just going to burn clock. Okay, so I think the plan was initially dead by that time. So I think the controlled game outcome definitely took place before they got down to the 20. So as you see here, these players are just going to stand here and just let him score. But I do not think, like I'm trying to explain here, I do not think that this was part of the rigging. Okay, I think that it was already rigged when they were at the 50. Okay, so that I still think the game is controlled. I just don't think it was, the plan was at this point. I think it happened before that. Okay, see how he's just sitting back here and just letting him go in because the coach had told him, you know, just to let him score. But the fact of the matter is the game is still being controlled here. Okay, so Indiana goes down 17-9 here. They are not covering. Okay, that killed everybody's bets on Indiana. Okay, you could clearly see that the players are just letting them score here. And that, I believe that was a strategy approach by the coach, okay? But I do know that this game now was controlled before that, okay? After they didn't make that tackle, the game was controlled there. And then they initially just let them score. So that's basically all I wanted to point out in this video. And the point of the matter is there was even action on this game. A little bit more was taking Indiana. Okay, so I could see why this game could be controlled. That's why you got to look at these line movements. Sometimes you could do everything in the book and find out, you know, what looks better for one team, what looks better for another team. But it really comes down to the money, guys. You got to look at the money and see where these games are going, okay? Because if you look at the money and then you use your strategies, that's going to boost your win percentage even higher, okay? And sometimes you're going to like something a lot, but, you know, it's not going to correspond with what the money is doing or what the line. So that's why it's very important to find out where these lines are moving when you're making these wagers, okay? So I'll be back with another video. Thank you to Lizzie Gold for pointing that out, and I'll see you in the next video.